Alright, for this one, I'm going to be doing the least hassle version of a drop D flat tuning. So basically just like the easiest way to get this low D flat chord that we need here from a standard tuning or from like a drop D tuning. So basically all I'm going to do is take the low E string, drop that down to the D flat or C sharp, and then just keep everything else the same. So we'll have the D flat, A, D, G, B, E, same deal. So just one string is all we're trying to mess with here, just to make it as super easy and convenient and accessible as we can. If you're somebody who, just tends to play in drop D flat tuning, really into Deftones stuff, whatever, if you're into that tuning all the time anyway, you can basically just take what I'm showing you here and just take, the A, D, G, B, E string, those 5 strings, take what I'm showing you here and just add 1 to it. If you're someone who likes to play in a drop C tuning, take those same 5 strings, add 2 to what I'm showing you here, and then just add 1 to the D flat. So that should all work out if you're down with all the alternate tunings. But for the simplistic purpose here, we got the D flat, A, D, G, B, E. Okay, and it'll make for kind of interesting chord shapes here, but very doable and nothing too wild. So initially, this intro section here, we'll start with the F sharp sus2, and with this tuning it'll look like this, where we'll have the 5 on the D flat, then we'll have 4A, 6 on the D and G. Okay. And that's essentially the shape that we're going to be using through most of this, is this sus2 shape, alright? And we're starting here, and the basic strum of it all, it doesn't have to be super locked into exactly this, it's a real loose kind of shuffling vibe, so don't feel like you have to have some exact thing, but if you want to get pretty much in the ballpark here, we got like a strum, 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4, so it's like, all right. And for this initial chord, it does that twice. All right, and then basically, I'll just shorthand the strumming on the notation here, but it moves from there to the E flat. So we're going to take that same shape and just drop it down so that we got the 2 D flat, 1 A, 3 on the D and G. Same shape, just down here now, and same strum. And we carry this out for a couple measures as well. Alright, we repeat the initial chord again, and then go to that E flat again, but only do it 1 time through. So we could, do that twice, and then we drop down here, do this just once now, the 2nd time through. Alright, because then we take it high now, take that same exact shape, we want a B flat sus2. So with this tuning, we're going to go all the way up to 9, 8 on the A, 10 on the D and G. Alright, and we do this for 1 measure. Alright, and now we finally make use of this D flat tuning by just coming up to the open low D flat and then just do a power chord under it at the 4 on the A, 6 on the D and G. And we just hit that and let it rain. Alright, and for the next section, I guess you'd say this, maybe the verse, we kind of just take the chords we used and just shuffle them, the order. Alright, so we would start at the E flat, the 2, 1 with the 3s. Alright, same type of strum, just do 1 measure here. Then we take it to the high B flat here at the 9, 8, and 10s. Okay, just 1 measure there. Then to the F sharp here at the 5, 4, and 6s, that initial chord from the previous section. And once we get here, we do this twice. Alright, go through the first 3 chords again, the E flat, B flat, F sharp again. And when we do this F sharp at the 5, 4s and 6s. Just the second time through, we do it just once, and then we just change the subtle little thing where we go, you know, the same 5, 4, 6 on the D, but now we want this 5 on a G because it's this, you know, interesting note that just kind of happens there. It's like an add sharp 11, and so if you want to try to keep the whole chord going, basically you would just take your ring and pinky, flip them, all right, and then just move it over. So we got, you know, the pinky doing the 6 on the D, and then the ring doing the 5 on the G there to get that add sharp 11. And if that's too much of a pain, you can just kind of, you know, skip the pinky there and just keep that D string quiet and just get that 5 on the G note there. All right, but if you want to be super slick and try to get that sus2 in there with it, you could do that. So a couple options there. I know that can be kind of a pain, but you would just want to keep that D string quiet because it would sound weird if you left it open. So interesting little ending there if you want to try to like squeeze that in. And then we change up the strumming dynamic for the next section. We do a couple of just muted strings. All right, so just touch the strings and strum them. And same chords we've seen. We start at the B flat, the 9, 8, and 10s. Hit that a couple times. All right, muted strings again. Go down to the E flat at the 2, 1, and 3s. Same kind of hit. All right, mute the strings again, and then we go to the F sharp at the 5, 4, and 6s. And when we hit this, we just hit it and let it ring. All right, we go through that whole thing about 4 times. And then after the final time, once that's ringing, we kind of wrap it up by going on to the E flat again, the 2, 1, and 3s. And it's kind of like 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, and that gets us into the next section. For the bridge, we change up the dynamic again, where it's just kind of like a down strummed, like quarter note right on beat. And we start at our F sharp, the 5, 4, and 6s. And it's just like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, and do about 4 sets of that. Just like that, chugging along. And now we make use of our D flat tuning again by coming off to the open low D flat. But now we want this kind of interesting higher like sus2 vibe on it, and you know, really cool sounding chord here. So we do the open low D flat, and then we want our 11 on the A and a 13 on the D, and it's that same just quarter tempo, you know, quarter beat right on tempo there, 4 times. All right, back to the F sharp at the 5, 4, and 6s. Same amount of times, and then we just finish it by dropping down to the E flat, the 2, 1, and 3s for that same kind of tempo and vibe. We go through that about 3 times, and then that final time through, instead of just strumming them all, you just kind of hit the first one and just let it ring. All right. And other than that, there's a little subtle different, a new chord that we have at this like outro section here. It starts kind of like what we've seen with like the verse, that very first progression, where we're at our F sharp, the 5, 4, and 6s here. Same type of thing there. Drop down to the E flat at the 2, 1, and 3s for that same deal. And then we would come up to our B flat, the 9, 8, and 10s. But when we come up here, we do it, you know, 2 times. And now we do this kind of like descending chord, where basically we just switch to an A flat sus4. So we're going to switch up the shape here. Nothing too crazy. We just drop down to 7 now on the D flat, and we want 6s on the A, D, and G here. Okay, you want that sus4 note in there. And then there's a little bit of a resolve where it just goes to an A flat. So we just, and it's a little bit tricky. with this tuning, but nothing too crazy. We just kind of want the same 7 on the D flat, the 6s on the A and D, and now we want this 6G to be a 5. So we kind of want this going on. We went from to that, but we also want our low, you know, A flat note on top of it. So I just kind of start with this, I get to that, and then get the pinky up there. Okay, so a little bit of a trick there, and if that's too much of a crunch for you, then you can just kind of like drop down and hit the first fret on the D, G, and B string. You just kind of won't get the same like low bass note with it. So up to you, a couple options there. But other than that, that should wrap up all the sections for you, and have fun with it. See you next time.